We got my guy. We got my guy, half Reese, stacked cheese in the building. This nigga's a fucking legend in the making. Like when I tell y'all, like when I first met this nigga, we was at a showcase, right? And he caught my attention immediately. The nigga got up on stage and that as soon as I done blow another check, I done fucked it up. Living life with no regrets, I've been fucking up. That shit, bro, I immediately, like, I'm on my phone, I immediately look up, like, yo, that nigga's fucking fire. Like, I heard something in him. And I tell you all the time, like, how I can hear greatness in people. Like, I really can hear, like, when somebody has potential. And that's really how I felt about you. And also just, like, being so different than everybody else. Because I always, like, I hate the norms and shit. Like, you feel me? Like, when I hear somebody that's, like, completely authentic and that's rapping everything, like, that's rapping their truth and rapping everything that they truly believe, that shit is so much more appealing than a nigga that would, like, you feel me? I'll shoot your grandma in the head. You feel me? Fuck with me. I kidnap your baby mom and torture her for 10 days. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And it really be in the club like, oh, snap.
And they really be in there feeling that shit. So when this nigga got up there and was like just going crazy on some calm shit, I was like, yo, he's nice. I'm sticking with this guy. So I'm really glad to have you, bro. I definitely appreciate you coming through.
I appreciate you guys having me, man. I enjoy the podcast.
And this nigga introduced me to rock climbing.
Oh, yeah. I did get him on the mountain.
Yeah, he took me out to the mountains and shit.
Yeah, I like to do some extra different stuff, man.
I just tagged you on a post on Instagram, and I took your page to look, and you definitely was tagging me. Like, you think of Spider-Man?
Yeah, man. I like to do a little rock climbing here and there. It's good for the soul, man, getting up there. It makes you feel small in the world. And sometimes we need that, like, humbling experience. Like, the world is way bigger than what you think it is, you know?
Yeah.
Sometimes. But you get up there and you look, and you only seeing the state that you in. Like, you can't see past the state that you in, but it looks like you can see forever. And it's like, dang, man, like, PA, where we hiking at, is this big. Like, the world is humongous. It's crazy.
Yeah. Like, we was actually having a crazy ass conversation on the mountain, and me and him, and I was like, yo, all this land and we can't have none of it. You remember that shit, bro?
Yeah.
I really
so
was thinking about
trees.
that shit.
Like, where are 40 acres at?
I don't always get into race, and you know, like we was talking about last time, like race isn't a big issue for me. But I kind of felt a little racist on the mountain. Like I was like, you motherfuckers,
Wait a damn.
look at all this land. Look at all that. We can't have our 40 acres. Damn it! Damn you!
It's like, just let us get an acre. Like, there's thousands and thousands of acres we looking at, and they got nothing on them.
Shit, you can start me off with 10 trees. Black people is innovative. We start something out of it. Make a motherfucking Kmart out of 10 trees. What does your girl and a laxative have in common?
Oh, what?
They both irritate the shit out you.
Oh.
Y'all ain't like that. She knows she get on my fucking nerves. Hey man, listen, these two niggas is haters. If y'all like that, hit me up on Instagram and tell me I'm funny.
Oh man, he basically wants to boost his self confidence.
What's going on, family? Welcome to the 81 West podcast, where we talk about anything and everything, but absolutely nothing at the same time. We're the kings of conversation, so if you're into a good chat or a steamy hot debate, come kick it with us. I'm your host, Culture, and to my left,
It's Mary. What's going on, everybody? Going on, everybody?
bro, you suck.
You know I got that little list thing going on.
Hey, bro, before we get into the sponsor, we all want to know what's going on under the hat, bro.
Hey, you know what?
You've been moving very mysterious under this hat.
Nah, but you see, I'm gonna get. See what I mean? It's a situation, you know. Like I'm gonna get it cut one day, but you know what I mean. Don't expose my hat. You know? The side parts is growing out. Like I can't do it no more. I gotta wet my hair and then you tap. You know, I gotta shrink it.
Oh, you got.
I gotta shrink it every morning and put the cap on.
It's cool. Half-Breed had one of the juicy Jerry curls too.
Oh man, they had some curls though. It wasn't quite like yours, but it's
Them joints was dripping. He had a little Jerry curl going on.
No more though. Straight baldy.
Let's get into the sponsors. South Jersey TV Mounting and Services. South Jersey TV Mounting is a company that is wide range in service despite the name. They service all of New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Delaware. South Jersey TV Mounting and Services is a proud black-owned company that takes great pride in the work and services they offer. They mainly mount TVs for residential and commercial buildings, but also offers satellite dish removal, inside and outside wire cleanup, along with cable installation and more. Right now, there's a referral program where you can make $25 just by referring a friend to Robert Bryant. Robert Bryant is the owner of the company and has been mounting TVs and doing cable installation for over 5 years and will stop at nothing to make sure all customers are happy. Shout out to him, bro. He definitely is the machine behind 81 West Podcast right now, just being an amazing sponsor and supporting us through anything. So definitely thank you to him.
Did he mount your TV?
Yeah, he did my TV.
Yeah, well, that joint's looking sturdy. It's
Yeah,
looking
that
sturdy
one
up
nice.
there.
You feel me? That one,
That thing look heavy too. Like,
Look at the leave the bass in. Go down.
Yeah, that motherfucker nice, ain't it?
I was sitting like that. That nigga sit up perky.
I was going, it's crazy because I was going to put the LED lights on that motherfucker, and I was like, nah, I look kind of childish. I didn't want like my room to look like my house to look like a college dorm. So I was like, nah, I ain't gonna do it. But I wanted to. I was gonna put the LED lights behind it and shit.
Yeah, you got some extra for the man cave or the
Yeah.
game room or something.
For sure.
You gonna need a lot though, 'cause that's a big TV. You're gonna need a lot of glow.
I know.
Yeah, man.
Yo, let me ask y'all something.
Yo.
All right, listen. Would you rather never be able to lie again, or believe everything people tell you, like completely gullible? Like I tell you that the grass is purple outside, and you would look at it and see it's green, but you still believe me. Or would you rather never be able to lie again?
I think I'll never be able to lie again. But I know the consequence that come with that. Like if you like, how does dress look on me or something like that.
Fucking horrible.
Like,
Oh my God. Dang.
you know what I mean? You can't lie.
You look like shit. You would never have a girlfriend in your life.
Somebody's sick, you think I'm gonna get better? No. You just can't lie. Like
You will die. You're done for. What about you, bro?
Yeah. I can't do the double thing. Somebody tell me to go kill somebody. I just gotta go kill him. I'm in jail for life now because I was super gullible. So yeah, I'm gonna have to go with the no lies.
It's a toss up for me, bro, because like I don't believe shit nobody say, bro. Like it's hard for me out here, bro. Like I don't believe like niggas look at me dead in my face and be so sincere, but like only because of like the shit I've been through and the shitty ass people I've encountered, I be like, nah, this motherfucker full of shit. So like sometimes I would like to be able to believe people, but then to never lie again, like I don't know about
you sound like you love to lie. Like you gonna miss
That's
this.
bad.
I be lying, bro.
I
I be lying. I be lying.
You can. I just sound like you gonna miss it.
I like to play mind games with people. Like listen, when I was younger, bro, I'd walk up to you and just tell you a bold face like, man, you know I got $1 million hidden away in the stash. Like I found it in one of my walls in the bathroom.
That's how the party was.
I like to lie, bro. And then the motherfucker believe you too.
But to literally believe everything somebody says though,
Yeah, no, I can't do that. I
that
can't
would
be
be
gullible.
hard. Anything that anyone says.
If you believe anything everybody says, eventually you become the laughing stock.
Oh,
Man, and
You
people
will
can tell
always
you
do-
anything. Like, hey man, your mom is a horrible person. And you're just like, hey, you know what? That's my mom. Right?
You're right. Fuck my mom. Fuck that bitch.
Like, no, we
All
can't
she
do
ever
that.
did was give birth to me.
Yeah,
You're
man.
right.
She ain't did nothing for me. Absolutely correct. Man. Don't go
Yo.
to school. You know what? I'm never going to school again. You're right. I believe you. Yeah.
Yo, that's funny as fuck. That's facts, bro. I definitely I'm gonna give up lying because I can't.
Yeah, man. Lies not that important anyway, man. People
Yeah,
will respect you for being so truthful. Hopefully.
yeah, facts. That's facts. Why you keep looking at me passionately in my eyes, bro?
And you keep looking at me. You be
Nah,
like,
it's because I feel you looking at me.
I'm looking at this.
It's a burning
You look at
sensation
me.
on my left side of my body, bro. I mean, is this my left side?
Stay in school, buddy. You'll get it. Would you rather lose your eyes or your ears?
Like my sight or my vision, or the whole eyeball and
Like
both my
like yeah,
ears?
like your sight, or your hearing.
I said sight and vision, didn't I?
Yeah, I was about to repeat it back to you. Yeah, your sight or your vision. That,
Yeah, you
that's
let me
not right.
live. I appreciate that. Damn. I think I'd rather lose my hearing. It's easier to navigate life without hearing, I think. Only because like I wouldn't. I can't imagine not being able to like see.
Yeah.
I feel like blind people got it hard.
Yeah.
One day I woke up in the morning time and I had so much fucking eye crust on my eyes I couldn't open my eyelids and I thought I was blind, bro. And I
I
panicked.
remember that.
I panicked, bro. My shit literally wouldn't peel open, bro.
You was having a bad morning.
Bro, I was having a bad fucking morning, bro. So I don't know. I couldn't imagine not being able to see, bro.
Were you sick?
Huh?
Were you sick?
I don't know what it
Why
was,
is so
bro.
crusty?
I don't know. But them shits was crusty. And then my eyelashes is long as hell, so it really like I had to like really peel my I had to that shit was hurt.
Half-breed, what about you? What about you, Jack?
Yeah, I'm gonna have to go with losing my hair. Just getting like around would be too hard. Like I see, the people with the canes and trying to go places, and bumping into things. You gotta worry about crossing the street. All that just seems too much. Get catfished.
Facts. Bitch, she like, I'm about 125 pounds, light skin, long hair. Whole time it's fucking something from Jumanji standing in front of you.
Remember on the Ray Charles movie what he would do to see if he liked someone? He would feel their wrist.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
body
yeah,
shaming.
yeah.
That was definitely body shaming at its finest.
He was like, oh no.
Fat ass ham hock wrist. What about you, bro?
Yeah, I'll probably go with the cut the hair and all. Only because I've heard before.
Did you? Oh, because you heard.
Yeah, I know what things sound like. You know what I mean? Cut the hair off.
That's smart. That's
And
smart.
plus, you can do sign language. When you blind, everything ain't got the braille on it.
Facts.
Reading lips, there's other options out there.
So would you guys consider Braille another language?
No.
It's not another language? Would you consider another language?
Yeah, I guess. Is sign language another language?
Because I always think, but the weird thing is, do you think that, alright, so I can understand Braille being different in English and Spanish, because the spelling is different. And Braille is just like, words or whatever. Like, same thing, but it's just bumps.
Okay. All right. So
So-
I guess that can be like if you learn how to write in braille or whatever. Maybe I don't know how that.
Is Braille international though? Like if you
Um,
is the letter A in all countries for Braille, or do you have like the same? I don't know.
Oh, that's a
Is it?
good.
That's another thing I wonder. Like, is sign language international? Like, if you say yes in sign language here, is it yes in sign language in Afghanistan?
That's a good question. Like you gotta learn.
Or do you
yes.
talk a whole
But it's different
different
language.
dialect of
Yeah.
sign language?
I always
Maybe
wanted
it's
to
all
like
the
go.
same.
I always wanted to. I don't know why, but I always wanted to like go somewhere else, like to fucking Africa or go to Beijing or something, and get somebody's middle finger and see how they react. Fuck you. And they be like,
I
You're like, what is that?
they probably like, hey.
You got some crazy ideas.
Hey yo, like speaking of that, it's weird though. Like it just reminded me when we was having this conversation. My friend actually, she speaks Spanish, and they speak Spanish at her house. So her animals understand Spanish. So I was at her house and she was talking Spanish to her cats. I was like, wait, what? You talk Spanish to the cat? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, the cat understands Spanish? So I was like, that is weird as hell. It was really interesting to me.
Yeah, I know Spanish speaking dogs. When I speak, listening, they
Yeah.
only hear Spanish.
I saw that on TV one time when I was like a kid who like learning Spanish or whatever. And then the dog had ran in the street and you had to say stop, but in Spanish because the dog ain't know English. That's how they were teaching us.
That's crazy.
I felt that joint. I was like, nigga, stop! And the dog ain't want to, you know what I mean? I felt that.
If you've been tuning in this far, I love you and I love your mama for having you. Also, if you've been tuning in this far, you know what just went down. That was our segment, Who Are You? Where we ask each other the most random, embarrassing questions that we don't expect each other to answer. So how your week been, bro? How you doing?
I'm chilling, man. Chilling. Life's good.
Yeah, you look good, bro.
I'm blessed.
Niggas glowing and shit.
That's that shea butter. I messed up my shirt too, man, with the shea butter this morning. But you gotta watch out with the shea butter.
Fucking around with the shit. I thought you was smelling a little Muslim-y today. I thought you was gonna walk in here and sell me some more.
Keep that glow, baby. That glow.
Yo, so we're going to get right into our next segment, Throwback Thursday. Basically where we reach back in time and bring in some events that we felt like kind of went below the radar. I'm talking with my hands today. It went below the radar. We reach back, we bring it back.
Don't punch me now.
Man, just did a whole karate. We bring
know,
it back.
right?
We reach back. Sight.
Don't keep teaching us something.
So, this event that I'm about to talk about is so crazy. Like, I don't even know what year to pick, so I didn't put nothing down. But the year originally started. You fired.
I swear I just muted it. I put my whole phone on Do Not Disturb, and somehow it still came through.
So this year, the actual event, it starts in 1975. Excuse me. And this is the story of Reverend George Exo. George Exo is a generally happy guy. He's really bubbly. And actually, by his own count, he helped 102 people die.
That's wild, bro. When I started watching this, bro, I actually started to remember this story from when I was a kid. But now I'm older, I'm watching it, and this is really wild.
It's a really wild
It's
story.
kind of scary,
He
bro.
helped 102 people die.
He helped 102 people die.
The more you get into it, it's like sickening.
It is, like, at first, and I'm not gonna lie, I was a little conflicted in my feelings. We're gonna get into it, we're gonna talk about it, but like, the more, Lissa hates this guy. Like, she was watching this shit with me this morning, and the whole time she just, But I was conflicted in my feelings, but like, the more I got into it, I did start to like turn more towards, yeah, this guy's just fucking sick. He didn't just help terminally ill people die. He had some mainstream euthanasia groups. You know what that is? A euthanasia group?
Mm-mm.
It's basically people that support the passing of, like, remember when we talked about the woman that was in the vegetative state, and that and the husband wanted to pull the plug on her. That's like a euthanasia group. Like,
The
they
right
help,
to
like,
die?
huh?
The right to die.
The right to die, basically, yeah. A lot of these groups actually started referring mentally ill patients to him as well.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of where the conflict came. But we're going to get into it. It's only legal in the Netherlands and Belgium and Switzerland and Oregon to assist someone in dying. But it's a very, very tight stipulation on it. Like, they have to be, like, terminally ill, like, vegetative state. Like, it has to be like they got to damn near already be dead.
That make more sense than like
this true crime documentary that I watched, that I heavily relied on for all of my information. It was filmed for 6 years by award-winning journalist John Ronson, who also supported the Right to Die movement. George Exo used helium as his method to suicide because of how lethal it is, and death usually occurs within 2 to 3 minutes. However, if the attempted suicide didn't work, that person could end up in a permanent vegetative state.
that's wild.
Yeah.
It's like, yo, you was trying to kill people and then did it? Why didn't you just give him a little bit more helium?
Give him some more helium.
I don't know, that's crazy.
The modern term is assisted suicide, and it began in 1975 in Ramsbury, Wiltshire, England, with a woman named Jean Humphrey, who was suffering from terminal cancer. She asked her husband, Derek Humphrey, to help her die, and he did. He went and he got a bunch of prescription pills that, like, with the right mixture of them would kill her, and I guess they put the right mixture together and she died. Her husband then wrote a book about it called Jean's Way, a love story, and this kickstarted an entire Right to Die movement. He said that hundreds of people would call him and ask him questions like, "How did you do it? And what drugs can I use to kill myself?" What do you think about that?
That's really wild. Who let that book be published?
What do you think about it?
Yeah, that's insane.
That's
So I actually I read a little bit of the audio version of the book, and speaking only from his perspective, he sounds like a grieving husband, and he sounds like what we talked about in the first episode with the vegetative wife and him wanting to pull the plug on his wife. That's kind of what he reminded me of, and so part of me, I could be really empathetic for it, and I felt for him. He sounded like a grieving husband. I felt like this was a sad situation that turned into something awful. But
yeah, I feel my heart goes out to people like that, because I know numerous people that like I love that told me if they ever got into a position where they were like a vegetable, weren't going to be able to like provide for themselves anymore, do to live anymore happily, that they would want to pull on.
Yeah, that's what Lissa told me. Lissa said, "Kill me, motherfucker."
Yeah.
So people would call him like, well, how did you do it? And what drugs could I use? So in the end, like his book, started a network of more than a dozen rights to die groups, and they actually started to protest and to get the law changed, and they were forcing people to provide the names of doctors that are willing to offer lethal doses to terminally ill people. At this time, this movement was specifically for terminally ill people. Like it was only for like, hey man, my grandma's dying, she's on her deathbed, like I can't stand to see her suffer anymore. What can I do? Like those were the only like situations. And then comes this man, this Reverend George XO, who basically piggybacked off this movement, but he not only wanted to help the terminally ill, he also wanted to help the non-terminally ill people as well. So people are just super depressed, just don't want to live anymore. My dog died, I'm sad. I want to be with him type shit. And so Derek Humphrey, the author of the book, the man that helped his wife pass, Derek said that once or twice a week he would get calls from people who were just anxious to commit suicide. He also said that when these people would call, they would be very persistent because he would tell them if when the people called, he would tell them like, yo, like I don't do that type shit. Like I only help terminally ill people. I don't help people commit suicide. So what they would do was they would hang up with him and call another rights to die group. Like, hey, listen, I really want to die. Can somebody help me commit suicide? Blah blah blah. So then, certain groups would be like, listen, we don't do that either. It's against our policy. But here's the number to George XO, and they would give them his number. George XO says that he's done hands-on assisting with 82 people and over the phone assisting with 20 people. So for 82 people, he was actually there and assisted them in the suicide, like hands-on. And with 20 people, he kind of just coached them over the phone. You can do it.
Wow,
Type shit. Yeah, so at first he didn't accept payment, George XO. At first he didn't accept payment because he said it was his calling to help people that no one else would. He said that he felt an affinity with Mother Teresa and that he considered himself a midwife to the dying. He gives all of his people a tape, and it's called Life After Life. I actually saw this when I was little, and it's funny how, and it scared the fuck out of me, so I don't see how that was motivation for anyone else. So actually watching like him like praise this tape, it was weird for me, but it was called Life After Life, and the tape had 6 people telling their stories about near-death experiences, and so one that I can remember was this guy, I can't remember his name, but he was struck by lightning. He was on the phone, he was talking on the phone, and he got struck by lightning, and the electricity that went through his body, and he actually died for 28 minutes, and he tells his story about how he died. The last thing he heard, like in his physical form, was I don't have a pulse, he's gone. And then he said he kind of descended from his body or ascended from his body, and he like was getting sucked into a tube, but he said that he just felt so much happiness and he felt so much peace dying and being away from his body. So George XO would give this tape to these people, and he would tell them like, you see, death is an adventure. That's what he would give to people before they killed themselves. So and again, this was illegal. Assisted suicide is illegal. So he was wanted by the Irish police for the assisted suicide of Rosemary Tolan. He says he ordered a magic potion for himself and his partner Thomas because he didn't want to stand trial and face 14 years in prison for that assisted murder that he was caught with. So after he had received the news that the FBI was looking for him, George hosted a meeting with a Rights to Die group and informed them about his suicide. And so one man asked him, So the magic potion that he used for him and his partner to kill himself, it was just a mixture of drugs. Now, mind you, George's preferred method of suicide that he would tell people to do, it was helium. It was like sleeping pills and helium. So when he hosted a meeting, one man asked him like, well, why do you choose the drugs instead of your preferred method of healing? And he responds by saying, people who choose that method usually have a moment of realization the last seconds before death, and they hurry up and pull the tanks from their mouth. So what I want to ask you guys is, does that sound like murder to you?
So he's saying that the average person gets the helium, and then right before they die, go to take it off.
Yeah, like, oh fuck no, what am I doing?
And then what does he do? Grab it and put it back on him?
That's exactly what it sounds like to me.
And then it, obviously.
That's a murder. That's murder, right?
Murder.
That's murder. A lot of people didn't feel like this though. A lot of people were saying that if they wanted to die this bad, that they called him and he got this far in the procedure or whatever it is, that he was assisting them with suicide. So it technically wasn't murder. This is not what I think. This is what people were saying. Other people that were supporting him were saying. So like in my eyes, I'm like, damn, like so these people like, had a moment of realization and he like, put it in your mouth. No, you're gonna die today.
What these people were doing was like, it's like going, if you were going to go skydiving, right?
Mhm.
You're all for it. But as soon as the door go open and you're at the edge, you realize, wow, this is actually really scary. This is not what I wanted for me if I was going skydiving. This is not what I want to do.
Yeah.
I would be really upset if someone just pushed me off the plane.
In his defense, he was saying like, no, had I let them fulfill these these last minute regrets, they would just live and still be depressed and still be suffering. So
I feel like his motive for this was really, really like evil. Like I think he just wanted to see people die. Like that's it.
I'm glad you said that.
That's what it feels like.
That was a really good observation. And we're gonna get into it. What do you think?
Yes and no. I don't know. It feels like he did just want to watch people die because he killed plenty of people. But I mean, if it came from this root of like his wife and
no, George XO.
He had nothing. That wasn't. Yeah,
No, he basically just piggybacked off of Derek. The guy whose wife died.
Yeah.
His name was Derek Humphreys.
Yeah.
George XO kind of just piggybacked off of that.
And just run.
And he's like, I'm not just gonna help turn me to ill people. I'll help everybody. Anybody that wants to commit suicide.
Yeah,
Anybody want to die?
Yeah.
I help you out. You want to die?
Really.
Yeah, that's sick. And you said he was doing it for free at first.
He was doing it for free at first.
And started
And he was saying that it was his calling and that he was helping. That's actually him on the computer.
Yeah, I'm looking at him right there, and he has a little thing like a Catholic priest.
He's a reverend.
So he definitely knows this is wrong as a Catholic priest.
That's a scary.
No, he's not a
Man,
Catholic.
My man look like a demon.
Or as a priest, like period.
Yeah. So let me
Let me say this one more thing.
Mhm.
God gave us morals. You know that this is morally incorrect.
see that, but that's the thing though. Like sometimes people like when we have these fixations and these fantasies and stuff. Sometimes what's right to you is wrong to me, and what's wrong to me is right to you. Like so, he's saying like, this is my calling. Like if you like this is my calling. Like this is what I'm here to do. God gave me this understanding of the world and this understanding of death
That sounds like
to
cat.
help people. To us, it sounds like cap, but to him, and to his believers, he really like, you know what I'm saying? That's what he really felt.
He really believed it.
He really
People
believed
really,
that shit.
like, in his mind, his morals were probably right. He probably thought he was helping people. Which is
And that's
crazy.
what he was saying. Like he really thought, yeah. To us, it's crazy as fuck, but like, just to try and put myself in his shoes, I'm like thinking like, yo, this nigga probably really thought he was doing the right thing. He really thought that his mission and his goal in life was to help people die.
I don't believe that. I think he knew what he was doing.
You think so?
How many people did you see decide they no longer wanted to die, and you still went ahead and do it? You know.
Yeah.
He decided their future. He decided you're going to be depressed forever. No, just die.
Yeah.
Who are you to do that?
I agree with you. And I feel like you're right. But I'm just like, as like an investigative journalist, like, just looking into this, I'm like trying to judge last, because it's like maybe if I can try to get like an understanding of what he was thinking. And it just feels like he like if you watch the video, you'll see like how passionate, and he like was open about it. And in that same meeting was a man named Dr. Amaral. I don't know how to pronounce his name. And when I tried to put it in, autocorrect said armadillo, so I was like, well, that's not his name. But he didn't agree with George XO, and he was saying that George XO is only a reverend, and he's not a doctor, and he's not a psychiatrist either. So him, Dr. Amaral, and another psychiatrist actually studied George for a long time, like years, and they said that George might actually get some type of satisfaction from watching other people die. And this is from a professional psychiatrist's opinion. Like, they're like, yo, he gets off on this shit. Like, but they were saying that it wasn't like a sexual arousal thing. He was just so infatuated with the idea of death. He was like too happy to die. Like, he was too eager to die. He was more in love with death than life. And that's what they were saying. Like, they were saying that because he felt like death was such an adventure and such a great thing and something that you should embrace, that when he had like an opportunity and came across these like suicidal people and people that actually wanted to die, it gave him like a, you know what I'm saying, like a boost.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So like they
People are strange, man.
yeah, people are
No
strange.
way, bro. He had to know. He had to know that was wrong.
Yeah. So back at home, and Beckley, he's from Beckley, West Virginia. In Beckley, West Virginia, George is a Unitarian pastor, and he doesn't have much of a congregation because in Beckley it's a more of a conservative town, and George is an openly gay pastor, so a lot of people didn't go to his church or whatever. But he said that he didn't much care for his congregation because his mission to help those in need is more important to him than his ministry. Now that I didn't understand, because it's like, I don't know what a Unitarian church is. Like, I don't know exactly what religion they follow. Like, I don't know if that's Christian or Christian Catholic. I don't exactly know what that is. But I kind of feel like if you're a reverend or a pastor, like, I think if God sent you here to be a reverend or a pastor, you're supposed to be right, like bringing more people, like informing more people of the good word and bringing more people into the church. So for him to say that the congregation didn't matter and he didn't care that people came into his church because helping people commit suicide was more important to him, that kind of sent off a fraud warning in my head.
Yeah. Well, I mean, the whole thing, at the end of the day, in the Bible, it says you're not supposed to commit suicide. It's a sin. Like, if you commit suicide, you're going to go to hell.
Mm-hmm.
Pretty much is what they say in the Bible. So for you to be a reverend and even promoting suicide, period, it's ridiculous.
It's crazy, right?
You're already a fraud on one of those levels.
Real quick, a Unitarian don't believe in the Trinity. They don't believe in like who God is, like just God, no Holy Spirit, no Jesus. Just
So what's the actual religion that they follow?
It's a Christian denomination. It's a
Christian denomination.
yeah, but it's like really really rare. Like I've never heard of it, and I'm big on that. And I've never heard of that.
So ultimately, and one thing I want to say is that I actually do agree with you, because I think so. When the FBI started closing in on him and his partner Thomas, and by partner that's his boyfriend, Thomas, they remember I brought up the magic potion of how he was going to commit suicide, and he said that he was basically making it seem like, oh, I don't want to go to jail because who am I going to help in there? You know what I'm saying? Like, I'm not going to do any good to anybody, so I'm just going to kill myself. But to me, it kind of sounded like he knew what he was doing was wrong, and he knew eventually, like, his karma was catching up and closing in on him, and so he kind of, like, pussied out, like, took the coward way out, like, oh, I'm just going to kill myself. You feel me? Quick and easy. So, like, I don't know, like, I kind of felt like, nah, bro, like, you knew what the fuck you was doing, like, you're putting these people's fate in your hands, and you're not God, you feel me? Like, you're deciding who lives and who dies, and that kind of, like, doesn't you know what I'm saying, sit well with me. So when I was watching it, and at first I was really, really empathetic. Like I was like, damn, like, especially like being somebody who struggles heavily like with depression and anxiety. Like a lot. Like there were times at one point in my life where I was definitely like considering like, yo, like I don't even want to be here no more. Like you feel me? Like in my happiest moment, I can't be happy type shit. You feel me? Like I don't want to live anymore, and I felt like that. But when I got out of that, you know, and my dark days passed and the sun came for me, it's kind of like, damn, like looking back on it, like it was. I have a testimony now, and I've gained so much knowledge, and like, you know what I'm saying, like I know that you can get through it. Now, I don't know everybody's situation. I don't know why some people are depressed. I don't know what happens, you know, when other people get depressed. I don't know how depression affects other people. But for me, if I was to be able, if that was to happen to me, and I contacted him and was like, yo, I want to die, and he forced me to die, basically. If I ever came back to life, that would always be one of my regrets, if that makes sense. Even in the afterlife, like that would always be a regret for me. Like I should have saw it through. You feel me? Like I should have, you know what I'm saying? Like gotten help type shit. Cause he wasn't even offering these people help.
That's the thing.
I felt like that
you
should
want
have
to tell
been.
yourself, it should be like, hey, what can we do to make you want to be alive first?
Yeah.
Before we just like, oh yeah, gun hole about killing you.
Yeah.
You want to kill yourself? Let's do this.
Come on, let's do this next.
That tells me
I
that
cheer for you now.
Facts.
that tells me that the motive was wrong. Like the motive was bad.
Facts.
Like he, like they said, he wanted to see people die.
Yeah. Yeah. And it's kind of like crazy, like and that's why I was saying, like, let's look at the whole picture, and let's really like read it out and see it through first, because we're just three people, and I'm pretty sure there's a lot of people that's going to agree with us. But there was a lot of people who backed him and supported him, and I'm not talking about towns of people, countries of people that supported him. There are millions of people that support him, and that like the right to die movement is huge, bro. It's huge. Like there's literally some people that just completely think that he was a saint.
My whole thing is like, I guess if you went through it and you had to pull the plug on somebody that rights to death movement would, I guess it
And
makes sense.
remember,
I'm just thinking like rights to death movement. If you believe you have the right to death, where would the movement be at? You would think everybody would be dead. We all had the right to die. We did it. There's no movement left, but no, I get it. There's people that have to deal with that stuff and probably form a movement after that.
Yeah, you remember what was the episode we did where it was like, you know, would you pull the plug?
That was the very first episode.
This makes me like go back to that my response then and like, damn, like now I gotta think more about this. This is deep.
No, so that's where it becomes, in my opinion, that's where it becomes black and white. Suicide is a choice. Suicide is a choice, and I think that there's so many other avenues and so many other options. Like now, if someone's terminally ill, like, and we were talking about then, that she didn't choose to be that way.
Yeah, but still, like it still makes me like, cause like when you said, you know, it's like in your hands to determine if someone lives or dies. That's when it's kind of like, oh damn, yeah, it's on me to decide whether. I know we talked about it before, but now that watching this, it's, you know, doing this, it makes me want to like rethink that. Like you never really know until you're in the situation.
Yeah, for sure.
But just like you said, it's a lot easier when the person, to me, the choice would.
Yeah.
Not to say it's easy. It never would be an easy choice. But if somebody's sick, you know, pulling the plug, you're doing it. To me, you're still doing it with morals. Like it's like, yeah, I don't want to see this person suffer no more. But for somebody who just wants to commit suicide, it's like, yeah, you think you're suffering, but you could probably fix something in your life, and you don't have to go that route.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I'd rather see you fix that first before taking the suicide route. Man. Suicide, I never agree with suicide. I can't.
Yeah, that was my thing. Is like, damn, he's not even helping these people. Like, he's not even trying to help them. He automatically like shoves this tape in people's hands of people dying and giving their testimonies of them dying without even being like, here's somebody who you can talk to. Like you can like, hey, you can get through this. Like better days to come. Like you know what I'm saying. Like even like just some cliche shit. If he didn't mean it, like even that would be better than to just be like, all right, come on, I got some helium for you, some sleeping pills for you, and this is what we're gonna do.
So 102 people, and he was going to get what, 14 years?
He was only gonna get 14 years for one person.
Oh, okay.
Because it was illegal. It's illegal in Ireland. Assisted suicide. So it's illegal in mostly all countries except the 4 that I had named. Except I know it's New Zealand, Belgium, Oregon, and I can't.
Switzerland.
In Switzerland, yeah, in Switzerland.
Damn, you got a good memory.
Right.
Half stack.
He called them half stacks.
Oh, a half breed.
Half stacks.
It felt wrong when I said it. I was like, hold on.
Listen, our first top meeting. I'll give you a pack.
Listen calls him cheese. So
cheese.
She just take the whole like. I was still to this day. I told her all the time. She's like, I don't know. That's the name I gave him. Cheese.
Just take the stack away. It's
cheese. That's it.
That's
people
funny.
get it. It's
Where you get
always
that name
different.
from?
I get breed. I get half breed. I get stack cheese. It's all over. I got the name because it really started. People used to make fun of me like when I was young because I'm mixed. I'm half white, half black. So people used to make fun of me all the time. Like, yo, half breed. All my black friends used to call me half breed or the mutt, Oreo, stuff like that. And then as I got older, I just embraced it. People called me breed like for a long time. After that, I just embraced it, and then the stack cheese is just get into the money. So it's important to me. So it just worked out, and then it's catchy. The little rhyme. It makes people come back. They're like, oh,
stack cheese. It do put a smile on your face just saying it. Half breed stack
He
cheese.
said it put a smile on your face. Yo, that's how everybody said it too. Half breed stack cheese.
Stack cheese.
Stack cheese.
Unless you crab, it's stack cheese.
I've been stacking my cheese. I ain't such and such. Hey, that was a bar. That's my guy right there. That was our segment, Throwback Thursday, and I hope you guys enjoyed it.
That was a deep one.
That was a deep one. That one was really heavy, but I think that this is about to be a deep episode. You can like us on Facebook, follow us on Instagram, 81 West Podcast. You can hit us on YouTube, even watch this video, tap in the comment section, and just let us know what you think and give us your opinion. Do you think that this guy is a saint or Satan? You know what I'm saying? Like, morally, how do you feel about Reverend George XO? And just tap in with us. We love the feedback, and we always interact with everybody. So tap in with us and all that good stuff. That man is Satan. Satan.
You said my favorite segment. I like Throwback Thursday. What you talking about?
This one is the thick of 81 West. Now this is where we get into good conversations, steamy hot debates. Because everybody know I love to talk. I love to talk to my peoples. I love interacting. I love conversing. I love, drawing everybody in and just hearing other people's opinions. And if that's what you're into too, tap in with us on anything. And if you think you can out debate me in any subject, I'll welcome you. Because I'm not scared to take it there with you. I don't care who you are. I'm going to let you know how I feel. And if I lose, I lose. You know what I'm saying? I'm not a sore loser. I probably won't, though, because I'm the smartest man in the world. Hashtag Aquarius gang.
If anybody wants to debate, on that, about Meg Thee Stallion.
Let's talk about it. Let's take it there. Let's talk about Meg Thee Stallion.
Let's go all day. We ain't going to do it. Right?
Let's talk about Meg Thee Stallion. Everybody know that's my little boo-boo. Let's take it there.
No, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do that. Save that for another time.
Yeah. Nah, fuck that. Fuck that. You brought it up.
It's all the time with him.
One thing that I'm big on, and I talk about heavily in my music, and I kind of preach this to people, which is kind of why, like, I'm so glad I met my friend TanishaMarie, and she is just an amazing person, a very understanding person, and also someone who goes through kind of like the same, like emotionally, we're like kind of the same person. Like, we have a lot of parallels, and that's mental health. Like, I'm very big on taking care of yourself, understanding who you are as a man and as a person. Like depression, anxiety, doing all that you can do to ensure that you're always happy. I'm big on that. So I thought that would be an interesting conversation for us to have, and I really thought about you heavily because of your story and what you went through over the past couple years.
Yeah, 2 years now.
Past 2 years, but you dealt with it too, and I know you more than likely dealt with depression and anxiety. You think?
I don't think so, which is why I kind of like tread lightly when I talk about this situation. You know what I mean?
All right,
I
don't
don't
try
really
to
wanna,
like
like,
here. This
speak
is a
for
safe place. I want to hear what you got to say.
I mean, I wrote down some facts about depression, like 5 facts about anxiety, 5 myths about anxiety, 5 facts about depression, and 5 myths about depression.
Mm-hmm.
But that's as far as I go with that, because I don't want to
Right.
Yeah, I kind of feel that. Sometimes I don't like it. To me, it's a touchy subject
I
because
feel like
everybody deals with it different, kind of.
Yeah.
So it's like but
I feel like the first step, and this is why so many people like hit me up and told me that they appreciated my music, because when I dropped 2 Checks on Me, that all of it was completely authentic, and it came from like when I wrote Who Checks on Me, I wasn't never supposed to drop Who Checks on Me. Like I literally just wrote poems, and eventually, like as I started feeling better, I went back like, I think I can throw these on beats. But that was literally my out. Like that was my way of like just getting it all out, because one thing about me, I never talked to anybody. Like I always had a hard time like expressing myself, and that's why I'm so vocal and so expressive now, because bottling up, like that's one thing about Aquarius, like we bottle things in. That's why like if you ever like see Aquarius sign, you always see him like holding up a vase or something. That's your feelings, that your emotions, you holding in, bottling in. So like I went and I feel like even though it's a tough conversation to have, we can still have that conversation and still tread lightly, and it still affect so many people, because there's so many men that just feel like even another person just talking about depression is like, oh, this thing be sad. Like, oh, well, I ain't gonna talk about that. But there's so much you can take from just like having like a guy like Half Breed Stack Cheese standing here talking about depression, talking about how he felt. You know what I'm saying? Like even if it's not even in depth, like you don't know how many lives you could change just by mentioning the word. You know what I'm saying?
yeah, man.
So the first thing I want to talk about is toxic masculinity. And do we know what this? You know what toxic masculinity is?
I googled it before we started.
All right.
So one of y'all can start, and then I know how.
Yeah, you chime in.
Toxic masculinity. That's like you know, as I guess we all assume that men have a certain role. Well, a lot of people in the world assume that men have this certain role, and it can become toxic if you think that those are like rules that you have to abide by. Like men can't cry.
That's what I was about to say. Like
That's one
toxic
thing I saw when I
masculinity.
googled it.
Here goes some, and this is why I prefer to have female friends. Like a lot of people think like, oh, it's because you want to da da da. Like it ain't even that. Like I prefer to have female friends because like sometimes niggas just like just really blow my mind. Like so here's a situation, like right, you go through something in your relationship, right, and you really want to vent. Like you come to me and you want to vent and shit, right? Yeah, bro, my girl, she really, she caught her cheating on me. I don't know what to do. Nigga, you don't know what to do? Fuck that bitch. Leave, nigga. Fuck you mean? Is that a tear in your eye, nigga? Is you crying, nigga? Man up, all these bitches out here. Plenty fish in the sea, nigga.
POS.
POF. That's toxic masculinity. Nigga, what the fuck you mean you sad? Nigga, shake it off. That was daddy's favorite shit. Shake it off.
What do you say? Stop crying if I give you something to cry about.
Yeah, stop crying if I give you something to cry about.
Favorite thing.
You already did. That's why I'm crying. But like that's toxic masculinity, and I feel like because we're men, you know what I'm saying. Like a lot of us don't see that the trait in us when it happens, and it's kind of like signs of toxic masculinity, and when we don't realize that it affects us, it affects women, and it affects society in general. You know what I'm saying? Toxic masculinity could also be like you like even just preying on like a weaker man, and by that I mean like kind of bullying him, treating another man the way you wouldn't treat someone else. Like shit, even with me, like with the members only shit, and they always like, yeah, culture small, culture this, that, and they'll say shit like that, and they'll say shit like that, like not really knowing, like I mean it never affected me, I never cared and shit like that, because I can fight and I get bitches, But that's toxic masculinity right there.
That's straight toxic masculinity.
That's toxic masculinity right there. So I like when people will handle situations with me differently, like a motherfucker skim some bread off of me, I charge $50 for logos. Nigga give me $30 and I give you the 20. You know, I give it back to you.
Mm-hmm.
Knowing damn well, had that been you, they giving you that 50 up front. You know what I'm saying? Because you're bigger, you're stronger, you feel me? Like, the motherfucker like, oh.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
It's like a mindset.
Yeah, that breed fucked me up. But culture,
He's just a little dude.
yeah, he ready to do this shit for free.
Yeah.
Culture little ass about to do this shit for free. And it's like, nah, nigga, culture not about to do this shit for free. But
Right.
that's toxic masculinity, bro. That's kind of like, you know what I'm saying? Like, and I feel like, what are some things that we can do, like from a small setting, that we could do to kind of change like toxic masculinity, to kind of redirect that stigma of men not being emotionless and being insensitive. Like, what can we do to change that stigma of us?
Yeah, that's something I actually have to work on. Like, when it really comes down to it, like, I wouldn't say I suffer from this, but this is something that I still catch myself struggling with time to time. Like, I still have this box of being like a man a lot. Like, I don't think it's necessarily okay for me to cry all the time. But I can say for sure that some of the times that, like, I felt the best are the times that I go out of that box. Like, times that I took out to just cry by myself.
Mm-hmm.
Like, sometimes that shit feel good. Like, you need that. And, like, I don't know. The other day I seen a little kid, and he was a boy, young boy, and he has a friend. And he's a little boy too, both like the same age, probably like 3 or 4 years old. And when they were saying bye, he said, "Hey, come give me a hug." And he gave him a hug. And then when he gave him a hug, he kissed his friend on the cheek. And like inside, I was like, whoa, like, you guys ain't supposed to be kissing each other. Like, you guys are like 2 little kids. Like,
Yeah.
First off, like, you're not even old enough to be experiencing that kind of, like, I don't know, but it's innocent. Like, and it's like, yo, I had to check myself. Like, yo, you doing that toxic masculinity stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's okay for the little boys to kiss.
Yeah.
Like, who cares? Like, they just,
This
it's
was
friends.
little boys to kiss.
It's okay. Like,
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know. Like, at first, it was like inside me, I was like, nah, they ain't supposed to do that. Because that's how I was raised. Like, my dad wouldn't let me kiss another boy. Like, and I wasn't allowed. He would always tell me to man up when stuff happens. Like, if I was to start crying, he'd be like, "Yo, man up," or something like that.
Yeah.
And like, it's in me. It's like imprinted in me. And as time goes on, I realize how wrong that stuff is. Like, a boy can cry. A boy can be friendly with his friends. Like, it's stuff that girls can do that guys have this box of, like, can't do. Like, girls will smack each other on the butt. And, like, I don't know, kiss each other, all kinds of stuff like that. Go in the bathroom with each other. Like, to me, I couldn't even walk in the bathroom with you right now. It would feel weird. Like, if you was in the bathroom, I'd wait till you came out the bathroom and go in the bathroom.
Wait, is this a multi-stall bathroom or?
A multi-stall bathroom. Like, if you were like, hey, we was chilling together, and in my mind, I was like, damn, I gotta go to the bathroom. And you was like, and it was a public bathroom.
Mm-hmm.
And then you came out and was like, yo, I gotta go to the bathroom real quick, I'll be right back. I would not walk to the bathroom with, like, I wouldn't say, yo, I gotta go to the bathroom too. Like, let's go.
Yeah.
Like,
That's so weird to me.
I would wait till you got back, and then I would go to the bathroom just so we wouldn't go.
So you
I don't know, it's
stay there
weird.
and then pee there till I get
You're not kissing everybody like that.
I'm serious. Like, it's just I suffer with this one. This one is one that I still like, and I know it's all wrong at this point. Like,
The
I know
funny
it's
thing
a part
is,
of my life,
like,
but I still do it.
And I'm glad that you mentioned it. And when I in college, my sociology class, we actually talked about like how women don't do this as much. They do it in different ways, but we kind of like unconsciously we form these like societal norms of men, like, so it's like, and we all know the unspoken rule, right? If a nigga is using is in the first urinal, what urinal you use?
The third, I'm not using the second one.
Not using
I'm
exactly.
definitely not using the second one.
Skip a urinal.
Exactly, you skip a urinal.
You
And
can't
it's
be
like,
standing next to somebody.
it's real life. Like, we like as men, I guess because we got so much testosterone in it, it's kind of like it's too like, oh, that's gay as hell. I ain't pissing next to that nigga.
Yo, if somebody came and stood next to me, like while I was at the stall, and he came and used the stall right next to me, I would probably say something to him. Like, dog, what is you doing? Like, there's empty stalls over there. Go ahead, man. What is you doing, man?
That would be strange.
Come on,
Yeah,
I don't think I can
real
let it.
strange.
I don't think I can let it slide. Yo.
I don't think that's always been the rule. Like there wasn't one time I went to school and it was like someone was using like all the stalls were being used. Like it was always it's a gap in between.
Facts. And if there ain't no gap, then you just wait.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
You
not.
want to hear
I'm
another
not-
bad one? That's like masculinity wise. Like you ever drop the soap in your bathroom and you be all alone,
Yeah.
and then you still look down like, should I pick that
Damn.
soap up?
I
You
think I'm
start
done watching
trying to kick it
anyway.
with your foot up. You catch that shit.
Yeah,
I ain't picking that
I
soap
thought I was the
up.
only one. I look at it like, damn.
I could be all alone. You drop that bar of soap. It's like ain't nobody else in this house. Can't nothing happened to me wrong. But I still look at the soap like, dang, I done dropped the soap.
Nigga slide up on the wall and pick
Real rap.
Nah,
I ain't even
man.
did this shit. I think I was done anyway.
I'm done. I can do when I get
Facts,
out.
but like real shit, like as men, we just gotta do better because it's like these are things that really don't fucking matter.
They don't.
That really don't fucking matter. But like we real life just like
If you have like a job
Mhm.
and you have things going at home, I feel like you shouldn't be, oh, you know, this and that. You gotta suck that up, put that to the side, and do your job.
yeah,
And then you deal with your feelings at another time.
word up.
You know what I mean?
I agree with that.
Struggle though for a lot of people, for some other people, to like the separation. Like it makes doing what they have to do harder. If you have it bad enough, like some people suffer. Like you suffer from anxiety, you're suffering from depression. It's different than just having depression or dealing with depression.
Yeah.
Like everybody deals with depression. Everybody deals with anxiety here and there. Like you get anxious, you get nervous, you get sad. That's depression. But if you suffer with it, like I see people that have tics, like they can't calm themselves down if they get into a nervous situation. Something new happens on the job and it's extraordinary. It's hard for them to. I mean, the end result is, hey, yeah, you do got to get through that and figure out a way. But it's hard for some people, like a lot harder than I can. I don't suffer from it, so it's not hard for me. And that's my first reaction. Like, yo, just get through that. What are you talking about? But it's a lot harder for a lot of people.
Does it it progressively gets to that point where some people just, because like,
What do you mean?
like you, like with like anxiety, like does it start off small and then you get to a point where you can't just like cut it back?
So I can't really I don't really want to give that an answer because, like you said, it's such a touchy subject and everybody deals with it differently. So all I can really talk about is me and what I went through. So like when I was dealing with when I was dealing with depression, and it's like when it hit me the hardest, I didn't know I was depressed. It took me to lose everything. I lost my girl. At one time, I had lost like every job. I was working like 3 jobs at a time. I lost my jobs. Like everything was like falling down around me. But that was because I became such an angry person because I didn't want to cry. I didn't want to And now this is me like after I did a lot of self-reflecting, and this is literally after like I lost like everything. You feel me?
Mm-hmm.
And I actually had to sit back like, all right, everything is falling around me, but I'm the only person that is hitting. Nobody else is sad. Everybody still got their shit together. Everybody, you know what I'm saying? Even like, you feel me, Lissa, like she off, like she ain't feeling how I'm feeling. She off doing whatever the fuck she wanna do. I'm the only one. So it took for me to look at myself like, okay, what the fuck is going on? And then when I had to think about it, I'm just truly, genuinely not happy. And I was suppressing that feeling, like, nah, fuck it, I'm gonna get out here and do what I gotta do. And that's when I was literally working like shit, like 24 hours in a day. I was working 20 hours a day I worked 24 hours a day for like 5 months straight, and tried to just put past everything that I was dealing with. And it got to a point where I lashed the fuck out, bro. Like, I'm talking about like lost my fucking mind, like type shit. And I really had to realize like what I just did was so fucking unhealthy. I needed to talk to someone. Like I needed to get that out. And so it's like when we say there's a time to put it away, I feel like you still need to deal with it in some way. Like even if it's just like talking to yourself. Like I talk to myself heavy now, bro. Because like sometimes I just ain't nobody around for me to talk to. Everybody and then another thing is like respecting other people's lives. Like don't immediately be like, oh, ain't nobody never there for me. A lot of people will just be busy and shit. So you gotta learn to deal with shit yourself. you know what I'm saying, keep a diary. That's another thing. Niggas think like, oh, I ain't keeping no motherfucking diary, man. Keep a diary.
That's actually really really helpful. I journal. I say journal.
You say, oh, you don't keep no diary?
I journal. Yeah.
That's that masculinity, right?
No, I'll
toxic
be
masculinity.
journals and shit. I got a little journal.
Journal sounds a little better to me.
Diary. When I think of diary, I think of, with the little flower on it, you open it, a little
In
pretty
the
book.
corner got the little lock
Yeah.
on it.
Nigga, what? Like, drum, nigga.
Yeah, you open it up and do something magical like
You got no noise or something. Yeah.
So that's where I'm at now, though. So like, I definitely respect what you're saying about like it's a time to like deal with that shit. But I'm at a point now where I'm finding my balance. How do I deal with how I'm feeling and dealing with these feelings that I have and still be productive and get through my days and you know what I'm saying, do what I'm supposed to do. You feel me? And that's what I think that's what it's all about, is just finding your balance. Because you can really lose your shit trying to keep it all together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? There's only so much shit you can hold on to until everything falls apart. You know what I'm saying? Speaking about depression and stuff, tell me about what was one of your darkest times?
Yeah, without a doubt, the darkest time was losing my mom. That's a hard thing to deal with, man. That's probably the hardest thing to deal with. Well, for me, it was like the hardest thing I ever dealt with, and I'm pretty sure from everybody else I talked to, like besides losing a child, I would say like people that lose children, I feel like that's something that a lot of people can't even come back from. Family separate, everything like that, based on stuff like that. But losing a parent or like a sibling, I feel like that's just probably one of the worst parts of life. Like, because it has to happen. Everybody loses people around them. You pass away, we all pass away. So it's just something. It's rough though. It's rough, and I went through a very bad stage after my mom passed away. Like really, really, and for me it was worse because I was Mr. Perfect. Like, my brother and my sister both call me Mr. Perfect. All right, so like growing up, like I was like the perfect son. Like I was always there for my mom, anything she needed. Like she might have to ask my brother and sister 7 times to do something. Me, you ask me once, I'm on it. And like my mom was a mama's boy. Like my mom was everything to me. Like so, once I went to college, I finally moved out from my mom. My whole goal in life, I lived for my mom. Like I wanted to go out, become successful, so I could go buy my mom a house, so I could make my mom's life better and all this. Like most people do. You hear like any rapper, you want to get your mom a crib and a car and all this. Like I just wanted to get big enough to help her. So then losing her is bad. Like my mom got sick, and then she got healthy, and then she was like not got healthy, but she was fighting to get better. And my mom was doing like a real good job. So like when she did pass away, it was at a time when she was doing a lot better than she had been doing. Like I prepared for my mom to die like 2 years before she passed. And then because she had to get the surgery done, and I was like really scared for her to get this heart surgery. And she did good. And she fought through it, and she was doing good. And then she slipped getting into bed. Bang, game over. Hit her head. Life was over.
That's how it happened?
That's how it happened. And it's just like, yo, like you prepare yourself for like at the worst times, and then some freak accident can happen, and you lose, and it was crazy. It was just like a crazy accident. I lost my mom, and I got into this sad, depressed state, and I was just like, yo, and like I didn't like the call. I still like to this day, I feel like we go through stuff, and like I don't like to. I guess it is a set of depression, but I wouldn't say I suffer from depression. I say I just went through a depressed moment. And
so saying that you, all right, so when you say you didn't suffer from depression, did the people around you suffer? Because I feel like that's something that we don't realize too, is that like when we deal with things and when we're dealing with depression, when we're dealing with depression and we have an effect on everybody else. Like you, bro, you got a strong personality. Like when something's off, like I can feel, like, you feel me, your energy and shit. So do you think that even though you weren't suffering, you think the people around you were suffering, like the relationships you were in or people that you had around you?
I stopped doing everything.
Okay.
I stopped, besides going to work, I would go to work every day because I needed to make a way to live, but I was going home every day. I was going home after work, straight home, and I would go grab a couple bottles of wine, and I was going home and I was in my thoughts, in the crib. Sometimes I turn on the PlayStation every once in a while. But for the most part, it was just me sitting in the house, looking in the mirror, chilling, drinking, and just, to me, I had messed up. All right, so I got to, like, so when my mom did pass, before my mom passed, I kind of like seen her getting sick and I distanced myself a little bit because I didn't like how she was going about being sick for a while. Because I felt like my mom made herself sicker going through depression because she lost her mother the year before, lost her best friend the year before, all these other, she lost a lot of people in her life.
I'm glad you said that.
And it was like she was making herself sicker. And as she did, I kind of like would get mad at my mom because I would tell her like, you got to do this to get yourself right, be happy, like look at things positively, and she couldn't. And like when people talk about suffering from depression, my mom suffered from depression. She like couldn't get herself happy. She constantly felt like she was alone. She was in the house all the way in Jersey. We live, all my family lives in PA at the time. My sister lived in Jersey, but me and my brother were like a big road to my mom too. And like for us to be so far from her at that time, and she just felt alone. And she ended up getting sick, and it made me sick to see her getting like that, and for me to be giving her like advice and her not taking it. And then I kind of like distanced myself, and I wouldn't come around as much. And it was like, so when my mom did pass, I was kind of like, I wasn't Mr. Perfect no more. I was the distant son, like the one who she called and I wasn't even answering the phone sometimes because I knew most of the time it was like, hey, what are you doing? Can you come up here? My mom used to ask me to just come up to get her some soup. Like, you live an hour and a half away, so I'd be like, man, drive an hour and a half to get you some soup, I guess.
Now you're like,
yeah, right now, I would drive to California to get her some soup. Like, it's crazy. But at that time, I was looking at it in a different way. And she was kind of like, the way I would get there, and she would be kind of like looking at my mom like that hurt me. Like looking at my mom looking sick and stuff like that kind of hurt me. And, but I regret all that. But anyway, so I'm dealing with this once she passes. Like I got missed text messages, missed phone calls. I'm listening to voicemails every day when I get home. Like, you know, TJ, how come you aren't answering the phone for me? What are you doing? Like, give me a call back. I love you. And I'm listening to these like, dang, what a piece of shit was I? Like my mom really, like she was reaching out, I wasn't calling back, like I was drawn. And I just put myself in this bad state and I was focusing on all the wrong things. And that's why I say like a lot of it, or a lot of how you feel, I feel is based on your perspective. Right. So like, if you decide to focus on bad, you're gonna go through like a really downward spiral, focusing on the bad stuff. And I was constantly focusing on how I thought I was such a bad person. But at the end of the day, I was Mr. Perfect for my mom for years and years and years. My mom knows that I loved her 100%. Mm-hmm. And I had to just stop focusing on the fact that I was like some kind of bad guy. I know my mom knows I ain't no bad guy. Mm-hmm. It was all about my perspective at the time. And I was just constantly beating myself down, making myself, like, really, I ran myself down for a long time. And then eventually, art, music saved me. I picked up a pen and I just started writing. One day, sitting in the house, getting drunk, I was just like, you know what, I gotta get this out. And I started writing, and I wrote the song Naive that I just dropped. And that was the first song I ever wrote as like coming back after that. And it just helped me so much. It was like all my emotions that I felt at the time, like, silly me, how could I be so naive? Silly me, I put all that on paper, and just getting that on paper and getting it out, like this is how I really feel, even if the whole world ain't heard it yet, even if nobody's heard it, like just me getting that out. And like I gotta be real with myself and be real with whoever it is when they hear this song.
Real talk, bro.
Just getting that out made me feel better. And then it was like slowly my perspective started changing. Like I'm not gonna focus on the bad about my mom passing no more. I'm not gonna focus on how I messed up. What I'm gonna focus on is what can I do in the future? What can I do in the future to make sure that that it's not that she's remembered, like that I loved her. Right. So. And that's what it is. So now it's like all about showing love. My mom was like the biggest, showing love person that I can't think of the right word for it. But my mom showed love to everyone. And she's a white lady to black people, she's to gay people, to any kind of person. My mom is gonna love you, and to kids, to adults, it didn't matter. And my mom like really showed love to something like we was hood. My mom wasn't you. She didn't grow up in the hood. My mom grew up in a nice neighborhood. We was hood, and we had hood friends that did crazy stuff. And my mom embraced all that. I'm like, I love you, just come around. So now it's just about me. Just, hey, how can I show love to the next person? Because that's how I'm going to make my mom live through me. How can I keep on showing love to the next person throughout my whole life?
That's fire, bro. You definitely got a story to tell, bro. I'm glad that you touched on when you said you felt like your mom was making herself sick, because you know that's a real thing, bro.
Yeah.
Do you know that? I was actually, you know, when I was researching like depression and shit, like trying to figure out how to cope with certain things. There is sometimes you have to find like that line of, is the depression the illness, or is the depression causing the illness, or is the illness causing the depression? And that's a real thing, bro. And so it's like, you know, not to make you feel bad or nothing like that. And I know you probably, you know, already dealt with all your past demons and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But your mom was probably maybe not dealing with it the best she could, but under the circumstances dealing with it. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And like, cause even with me, like I got depressed. Like when I was depressed, I literally like didn't eat so much that it became like a disorder for me. Like I really just couldn't eat. So like when I did finally like eat, I wasn't keeping anything down and stuff like that. So a lot of the times, like sometimes we can't get out of those phases, and to where like the depression really will, like, you know what I'm saying, to start to take over and shit like that. So like you but you know, I definitely applaud you for getting through your dark times and shit, because a lot of that shit is hard to shake off, bro. Especially like losing a parent. Like I couldn't imagine. Like when I lost my godmom, it was hard for me. She passed, but the crazy thing is when she passed, I had texted her. I was driving behind her, so I texted her. I'm like, where you going? I still got the messages in my phone. I'm gonna get tatted. I texted her like, where you going? I'm behind you. She was like, oh, I'm just going to the doctor's office. And I was like, everything fine? She's like, yeah, everything's fine. Just a normal routine visit. And 2 days later, she passed. But after that, my mom had told me, like, I think you should go to the hospital, you know, go see your godmom. She's not doing too well. But like, I'm not good with that type of stuff, especially because I only have a handful of people that I hold close to my heart. So like, it'd be hard for me to like, I kind of like turn into a coward. Like I can't face those types of situations. So I never went to the hospital to go see her. And then when I did decide, like, all right, I'm gonna go, that day she had passed. So you feel me? I definitely feel you. Like I called my grandma. I'm like, you know, what hospital she at? I'm going. My grandma was like, oh, you didn't hear it. Like, she passed and shit. So I was like, dang.
Yeah, you get that opportunity to hear.
Yeah, like if only I'd have bucked up and just went and did it.
But you know what? Like, as much as like it could also be a good thing. Like things happen for a reason. And maybe your impression on her was supposed to be something of like happy. Like you don't remember her sick in the hospital.
Yeah.
You didn't go see her for that look. You remember like happy times with her, whatever.
Yeah.
The last time you seen her before that. So sometimes that's good.
Yeah, I guess that's the benefit of it.
Yeah, I'm even dealing with that, trying not to repeat bad. I'm glad you said that, like, because it made me feel better. But I'm trying to like not repeat like bad habits and relive my regrets, because I'm dealing with that right now with Pop. And I ain't seen my Pop. He kind of raised me like during my teen years. I stayed with my Pop. So like my grandfather. So like when he started getting sick after his wife passed, and like just seeing him. Now he is the definition of toxic masculinity. My grandpa is a man's man. Like he is like like, you feel me? So it's like he don't ask nobody for shit. He don't want nobody's help. He is like that dude. So like just watching him become like so small and like, you know, frail, and, you know what I'm saying, just becoming older and sicker is just not. It's kind of like, damn, like I've never seen Pop like this. So it's like it'd be hard to like face that type of shit.
Yeah, man, that shit is hard, real hard.
Yeah, bro. So like, bro, what
So,
about?
I was about to ask you, what got you out your depression? Like, was it changing perspective too? Like,
What got me out of my depression was, one, I had to realize that I was depressed. I didn't know I was depressed. I just like, cause I at the time I didn't know. Nobody teaches you about depression, and that's why I'm so grateful for this era and this generation that we're in, because it's becoming more of a thing. It's becoming more open and more talked about, and the signs, like the symptoms, are being taught to people. You feel me? Like back then, like I didn't really know nothing about depression. You feel me? I ain't know nothing about. I just knew that I was fucking sad. some shit had happened. I wasn't feeling like myself, but I didn't know that I was depressed. Now I'm talking about like I'm lashing out. Like I did some really like unforgivable shit to the people I care about and that I love. Like I shut the whole entire world out. Feel me? Like my mama always tell me like, oh, what did I do? You're not talking to me. Why you not talking to me? And I'm just like, bro, like come on, like I'm not talking to you, dog. Like you feel me? Like I'm taking this shit out on the world. I'm not doing anything on purpose, but like you feel me? And then I really had to take like some self-reflecting because that was like, even though like I shut my mom out and I shut everybody out, my mom never turned her back on me. You feel me? So like the one time where I do call my mom and she don't pick up, I'm like, damn, you just going. I'm not saying she turned her back on me or shit like that, but it's like, damn, you just going to not answer when I call type shit.
Right.
And then it's like, damn, like what the fuck am I doing? Like you feel me? Like having to do like a lot of self-reflecting and really realize that like I became the problem. You feel me? Like I am the problem, and then just having to like do my research. I'm like, I'm sad as fuck. I'm literally, I typed all this shit in Google. Right. I just got a new job, but I want to bust out in tears. What's wrong with me? Real shit. Like I hate myself. What the fuck is going on? Like, and then like really just realizing like what depression is and the signs and the symptoms of it and shit like that. That was the first thing. And now, then I started like, I stopped focusing on, like you said, focusing on the bad shit. Like I was dwelling on my situation. Like I was literally dwelling on what happened. And like with me, like I'm a very like self-aware person. So like the shit that kicked off my depression at first was like some relationship shit, like some shit that happened with my girl. And I was dwelling on that. Like, damn, like I'm probably the worst boyfriend in the world. That's probably why she decided to do what she do. I probably ain't shit. And, you feel me? Type shit. And just like really thinking like, damn, like all right, now what can I do to like once I realized I was depressed, what can I do to like better my situation? Like once I got out of thinking like that and started thinking like, all right, fuck it, like what I'm gonna do to better my situation to get better and shit like that. And a lot of times like I was just like when I was like that depressed, like I was going to work, bro. Like I never wanted to think about it or none of that shit. So I was just distracting myself.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? I'm at work I worked at Family Dollar, I was cleaning the TD Banks, and I was working at Amazon. Mm. So I was like completely distracted. On top of that, being in school too, completely distracted. Like fuck it, I just ain't gonna think about it. But that's just not healthy, bro. So like, really just like I started meditating, researching, because a lot of times you really have to learn what the problem is and learn how to fix it.
Right.
So I was like watching videos on YouTube, like of other people like testimonies and other people dealing with depression and shit like that. Really, and just learning how to become a better person, think more positive thoughts, motivating videos and stuff like that. And then I was like, all right, I think let me write a song. Let me go back to like the one thing that I know ain't gonna steer me wrong. You feel me? So I just started. I couldn't write songs because I wasn't into it enough to listen to a beat and be like, like you feel me? So I just started writing poems, bro. I would write poems and poems and poems and poems and poems, and then I'm like, all right, let me see what I can do with this. And then that's kind of how like when I got the guts to like actually confront my situations. Now I'm like going to listen. I'm talking about her like, yo, this. Like I feel like this made me feel like that, and that made me feel better. And then even hearing her perspective of why things happen and shit like that made me feel better. Like just knowing that I wasn't like the complete problem, the complete situation. Because a lot of times all it takes is just to have a fucking conversation, bro.
Right.
Like, and I feel like that's why like a lot of people like that's where they go wrong is just bottling it in. So bro, like let's hear like some testimony from you. What's a dark time you felt? I know you said that you don't feel like you were ever like confronted with depression or dealt with depression, but like what was a dark time for you that you felt like you had to overcome?
I know you speaking about the time when we was like in Salem, mm-hmm. Like I was at the crib by myself a lot. But I don't think that really became an issue until I got older. You know what I mean? Cause like when I was younger, I didn't like really understand. I don't know. Like I just was like. I thought I was cool, like playing the game all day, and then 11 o'clock at night, Arsenio Hall come on, and that's kind of like just what I was doing. I never really was like sad or anything like that. But once I got older and I realized nobody really was at the house for like 2 years. What the hell was going on? That's when I started to feel away. But I don't think it was like really like a.
Do you think that affected you? Like it affected like the way you handle people now, like the way you deal with people now?
I don't think so. Maybe I gotta see therapy. I gotta go to a therapist, but maybe, I don't know. I don't know right now. Like, like the thing with daddy, like I was talking to a friend, and she was saying like, you should be affected by that. Like, it's not, what I mean? So I think I should see, a therapist. But as far as like, I don't think I'm affected by, daddy's issues or, being alone. I don't think I'm, but I need to talk to someone to figure out why I feel it. Because, if someone's dad is on drugs and he's not around, and you have to feel some way.
Yeah.
So
Don't shame yourself before.
No, I don't shame myself.
That could be honestly, that could be your way of coping. Is to just like.
I just let it off. Like I just move on. Like.
Yeah, that could be your way of coping. Like, we all cope differently. Like, when we're confronted with situations. So.
That's kind of my mentality. Like right now, the way that you described it, like yourself, is kind of like how until that whole thing with my mom. Even after that, like nowadays, it's hard for me to like, to a certain extent, understand some people's depression and anxiety because like in my mind, it's so like automatic now. It's like, oh, you're having a bad day, get positive. And like I get myself positive immediately. It's like, oh, I could be having the worst day ever. Like the other day, Tuesday or Wednesday, I came into work, I got the most work ever. And it's hot, it's so hot outside, I'm sweating. And then I'm like, you know what? Like, forget it. Like, I'm alive. It's like instantly, just that I'm alive, I'm living. It's like, it flips my whole mentality.
You wanna know what's
like
crazy?
some people don't suffer like from depression. Some people like instantly like can just do that. Like, hey, I had like things rough, but I move on. I'm through that.
When I was doing the research on depression this morning, it was saying like we all might not be like suffering from depression, but we all, like everyone in life we come to a depressive point at some time in life.
Yeah.
Nobody like really just goes without depression. But
Right.
what was I about to say? I forgot what I was about to say.
I felt like I appreciate what I went through though. I embrace and one of the reasons why I like to talk to people and why I'm so open about depression is because I embrace it. I felt like had I not gone through what I've gone through, I wouldn't be able to accept like my happiness and appreciate my joy for what it is. Because it's like, even like I even embrace the small shit, like the small shit, bro. Like, somebody, I had posted a picture of me and Alyssa's like sneaker collection, and somebody like, oh, why you always posting this dumb shit? Like, nobody give a fuck about that. I do. Like, motherfucker, like for 3 years straight, we had one pair of sneakers each. You feel me?
Exactly.
We motherfucking sharing socks. We washing our socks in the motel sink that we was staying in. You feel me?
Right.
I'm gonna praise everything I have. Like, you feel me? Like, even if I have a motherfucking peanut butter and jelly sandwich today, like that was a peanut butter and jelly sandwich that I didn't have the option of making back then. You feel me? Now I could just get up, I'm gonna get me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. Before I had to think about how I was gonna get $1 to even get like, you feel me? Like,
Right.
just a pack of noodles or something to eat. You feel me?
That's crazy that you said that. Just the other day, I posted a whole bunch of my sneakers in my closet, and somebody was like, "That ain't that many sneakers." And I was like, "All right, I get you. All right, I know it's people that got hundreds of sneakers. I know it's people that got 40 pairs. But for me to be like pushing 20 pairs of sneakers, to me it's like, oh, I remember not having one good pair of sneakers. Like everything was bummy. Now I got almost 20 fresh pair of sneakers that I can pull out any day. Like that's to me, that's an accomplishment.
Yeah.
Like it's success. Like I'm a success story to me. Somebody asked that, like, what's the definition of success to you? And like that's all it's about is like accomplishing goals. If your goal is to make a sandwich today, you make that sandwich, you a success story.
Yeah, exactly.
That, to me, like, hey, it might not be 100 pairs like you want, but I started from nothing. To have a couple is a success.
Exactly.
It's a blessing.
So those are our testimonies and our stories. One thing that I want to leave you guys with, I know this was a heavy topic and a heavy episode. I want everybody to know that I love you guys. And I say that to everybody, and it might be weird when I say it or how much I say it, but it means something. And when I say it, I really mean it, because like there are some people that may not admit it, but there are some people that go on their whole life with nobody telling them that they love them, or even just feeling like nobody loves them. You feel me? Like, and I want everybody to know, like, you definitely mean something to everybody. You mean something to me. When dealing with depression or anxiety or any type of mental health issue, always talk to someone. Talk to somebody first. And if you can't talk to somebody, pray, because God will always listen. You feel me? And that's basically from me to every listener listening. If you got this far in the podcast, I love you. I love you, Mama, for having you. This was thick.
Well, hey, I agree with him, man. If anybody don't take the and I ain't gonna say it's the easy way out, but suicide, I see, obviously we got a doctor that thinks that a whole bunch of people like deserve to kill themselves or whatever. But like before you take that route, make sure, even if it's me, like I don't care who you are, hit my Instagram, have Breeze That Cheese, do whatever. Hit a culture, hit somebody, like we willing to talk to you about it because there's other options before you take that option. Absolutely. Like big, way better options. Like everybody feels like they're at the bottom every once in a while, but life is beautiful, man.
And the best part, and this is what I want everybody to know, and I say this a lot, I say this all the time, and I was just talking about it, I might not have said it word for word, but the best part about hitting rock bottom, it may fucking suck, but the absolute best part is there is absolutely nowhere else to go but up. Once you've hit rock bottom, you can't get any lower than that. All you gotta do is climb.
Mm-hmm.
You feel me? Even if you make one step today, that's a step closer to, up. When you hit the bottom, all you can go is up. You feel me? So, hey yo, why did the chicken cross the road? Alright, why the chicken cross the road, nigga?
Why, man?
To get the stupid's house. Knock knock.
To get the what? Who's there?
Dude, I get where you go. I mean the chicken.
The chicken.
The chicken.
Oh, he missed the joke
I
up.
fucked the joke up. But hey yo.
Oh, I get it.
We about to get into my personal favorite segment, SoundCloud Slept On.
Uh-huh.
If y'all know me, y'all know I love putting new artists on. I love listening to new artists. You feel me? And I'm a little biased about this artist. I'm actually very biased about this artist.
Her name, bro, you was biased last week, this week.
Yeah, I just got a lot of love in my heart. This girl, TanishaMarie, man, she is. Yeah, you know. Niggas know.
Oh my.
Niggas know. If you know me, you've probably seen her on my Instagram a million times. I throw her music up all the time. I think she is a fire artist. I think that she means something. Like, and when I tell you like she means something, I mean like I have never turned on her song and not felt emotionally invested in what she was saying, bro. Like her music is like it's so moving, and I hope that she knows like the imprint and the stain that she leaves on the world just by the sound of her voice. I think that like I have so much faith in her that like if it came down to it and the motherfucker was like the only way for her to blow is for you to quit rapping, I would never write another bar again in my life. That's how much faith I have in her music. Let's get right into it. This is called This Time by TanishaMarie.
Maybe this time it'll be a little different. I'll stay here with ya. We could build a little future together. Capture all the little picture, perfect moments. I'm hoping I don't run away this time. Cause you caught me off guard when you looked my way. I didn't watch it, I ain't give you no play. But you had so much to say to me, and then you started chasing me, and then you started saving me. And I heard your angel sing, I got so high with you. I came alive with you. You came inside and knew. You brought your life into me. Then I gotta go and fuck it up like always. Wondering what you be doing when I'm not there. Obsessing over Becky with the good hair. Second guessing the truth when it's right there. But you're just reflecting what I've been projecting. My self-love is missing. My heart needs direction. I'm stressing. Emotional Armageddon. Will I ever learn my lesson? Maybe this time it'll be a little different. I'll stay here with ya. We could build a little future together. Capture all the little picture, perfect moments. I'm hoping I don't run away this time. Cause I'm so sick and tired of starting over. Every time you go, it's like my heart gets colder. Ain't no breaking through the wall. walls are getting past the boulders. Going through the motions like a military soldier. Left, right, left. Ever since you left, I try to take a step, but I can never catch my breath. Wondering how far my heart is gonna stretch. Wondering will this just be another test? And I was never good at school, breaking all the rules. Always skipping class, doing what I wanna do. The Aries fire in me got me feeling like a fool. The Aries fire in me got me feeling like a fool. And you knew it, you know it, you called it, I proved it. You took me by the hand and said, baby, what you doing? You got all this power and you don't know how to use it. I'm giving you my heart and all you're leaving me is bruises. Then I gotta go and fuck it up like always. Wondering what you be doing when I'm not there. Obsessing over Becky with the good hair. Second guessing the truth when it's right there. But you're just reflecting what I've been projecting. My self-love is missing, my heart needs direction. I'm stressing, emotional Armageddon. Will I ever learn my lesson? Maybe this time it'll be a little different. I'll stay here with you. We could build a little future together. Capture all the little pictures, perfect moments. I'm hoping I don't run away this time. Y por eso vuelve, que sin ti la misma yo no sé. Estás con otra, ya yo me enteré.
You on Spanish?
Yes, with that.
Maybe si tú piensas
No.
volver. Y por eso vuelve, que sin ti la misma yo no seré.
I'm thinking like,
Que estás con otra, ya yo me enteré. Y me sigo yo no sabes.
Yeah, she's Spanish. I'm all Dominican. Yo, listen.
This time I won't fuck it up like always.
Ain't no female artist.
I was just over Becky with the good hair.
I ain't got nothing.
Second guessing the truth.
I ain't got nothing.
But you're just rejecting.
I put my life on that, bro. Niggas ain't nobody fucking with her. Nobody fucking with T.
I heard boy that was doing Hennis over a lot. I see her in person and she sing just like that in person.
yeah.
She said, I can't seem to get you out of my mind. Everywhere I go, I swear you're right beside me. 24/7, 365. Something about you.
She just seemed like a dope person too. Like if you
Yo,
ever
she
meet
is.
her in person, like
She
she
is.
seemed like she's really like
She's amazing in person.
cool. She's like in touch with herself, like in touch with her mindset.
Definitely dope. I love that song. Like the whole that EP is called Alpha. The whole thing is fire. You can find it on all platforms at TanishaMarie. Follow her on Instagram at TanishaMarie Music.
That heavy.
Heaven, heaven.
Yeah, she hit that high note.
I can't even get close to that joint. Oh my god.
I engineered that joint too. If y'all like that, you like.
Oh yeah, you did your thing on that?
Fire. Yeah, that was me. That was all
man,
me.
you about to have me in the studio.
Oh.
Yo, listen. Again, follow us on Instagram at 81W Podcast, 81 West Podcast. Like us on Facebook at 81 West Podcast. Subscribe to us on YouTube. Hit that like button.
Wait. TikTok.
Oh, follow us on TikTok at 81 West Podcast. Hey, yo, if you like this video, then like this video. Treat this joint like you in a casino and you just got an ace in blackjack and hit it. You got me?
Hit it.
Hit, yeah. Hit the like button. Treat the like button like you got an ace in blackjack.
Take a hit.
Did you want to take a hit?
All right. Unless you got a jack with it.
That's how I know you go there and lose all your money. This nigga busts every time.
No, I don't gamble, man. Well, not on stuff like, not in the casino. I gamble on a fight or a sports game or something, but I don't know, them casinos, they built for taking your money. I like my money.
But listen, if you got this far in the podcast, I love you and I love your mama for having you. You don't love the baby mamas today?
Baby mamas, the mamas.
Nah, they been embarrassing me lately. Nah.
Alright, don't hit him up. He ain't been loving on your baby mama this week. Peace.